We return now to the topic of Jesus Camp and the culture wars raging once again. Yesterday we showed you scenes from a controversial new documentary. If you missed it, here are some of them again. They are scenes of young children being taught about abortion, scenes of young children as young as 6 in anguish over the sins of America, speaking in tongues. Scenes of children overwhelmed with emotion, sobbing for their sins, and all of it at an evangelical Christian summer camp where they are being taught to be warriors for God. We said these are the images that got everybody talking. We got thousands of emails, thousands of them, and you weighed in really on both sides, right, Chris?
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that's going to provoke discussions about faith. This is something that isn't just a military camp. This is about doctrine and religion. And there was a really equal distribution. Here's one viewpoint. Well, you can all have an opinion about what you saw, but I was one of them. It's not emotion those kids are having. They're truly showing the compassion of God for a messed up world. You know, that's from one of the kids. They say they were there. Now, the opposite viewpoint. I agree that our children and many of us adults should strengthen our faith to withstand corruption, but not at the expense of treating these impressionable kids to an emotionally hysterical indoctrination. And that issue about what we're doing to the kids, that raised a lot of questions about what's best for them. A short email to end this. Is it your purpose to frighten people? And I think what that question went to was, again, how the kids are treated.
That's right. So, was it the purpose to frighten? Did it frighten? Should it? On Wednesday, Chris and I spoke with Becky Fisher, who runs the camp, and Mike Papantonio, radio talk show host on Air America, who has criticized what they're doing. Here's more at that debate.
But you're one thing when you're at church and you're another thing when you're at school with your friends. You're a phony and a hypocrite. You do things you shouldn't do. You talk dirty just like all the other kids talk dirty. And it's time to clean up your act. Come up here and get washed. Because we can't have phonies in the army of God. If that's you, put your hands up here. Whoa, baby. Wash your hands. Father, we just wash them with the water of your word. We say no more, devil.
I think when you look at what occurs at the camp, there's a use of guilt, there's a use of shame. That's not directed all at Becky. I mean, what is a 5-year-old capable of in the way of sin? I mean, he might... repenting for sin, maybe stealing an Oreo from a cookie jar. One repetitive theme is a child crying, a child laying out on the ground and crying. Well, what are they crying about? Why does a 5-year-old feel like it's necessary to cry about their sense of spirituality?
I do not use guilt. I do not use shame or manipulation in those ways. Our children, here's one of the things. This is a very intense moment. These children are passionate about their faith in Jesus Christ. Most people don't have any emotion really going on in the religion at all.
If this is their faith, if this is what they're about, what's wrong with it if nobody's getting hurt and these kids are getting inculcated at a young age?
Again, this is not directed at Becky, but you have a movement, Chris, that's taking place in, it's a part of the evangelical movement. It's not the entire evangelical movement. At the core of that religion is, they believe, and all of those religions believe, that when we do good work, the grace of God is invited to work. The same thing is true in the way we deal with our children. We don't have to shame them. We don't have to make them feel guilty.
Take these prophecies and do what the Apostle Paul said and make war with them.
All of the language that has people really upset about the war language, that is very typical in Christian communities. We're taught to fight the good fight of faith, the sword of the Spirit, which is the Bible. It's a whole vernacular. We're in no way, shape, or form trying to get these kids to be militant and go out and strap on a bomb belt. That is nothing further from the truth. Children are far more capable of understanding things than we give them credit for.
Becky, I'll tell you what struck me about it. Is today as we sit, and talk about this issue, there are children, what they call child soldiers in Sudan, who carry AK-47s because for some reason they're emotionally led They have this belief that it's us against them. They have this belief that their politics is right and the other politics is wrong. Well, they're led that way at 5, 6, 7 years old, not by reason. They're not even at the age of reason. They're not able to discern the right between wrong.
We're glad you're here. I want you to bless him. Speak a blessing to him. Once you do that, reach your hand to speak a blessing to him. Do some warfare over him.
They have this cutout of George Bush, and they're laying prostrate on the ground in front of George Bush. And I think it's wrong to do that with any leader. I think it's wrong to build up any leader in this notion of they're anointed by God to lead this nation. Right. I just don't believe that.
Doesn't he look like Harry Potter? Mom, he looks like Harry Potter. I can't watch it because it has witchcraft.
What about, I mean, Harry Potter is an entertainment.
Warlocks are enemies of God. And I don't care what kind of hero they are. They're an enemy of God. And had it been in the Old Testament, Harry Potter would have been put to death.
This isn't pornography or drugs.
It's not. Actually, the Old Testament is full of references to witches and sorcerers, that they are enemies of God. And that's where that comes from. It's a whole doctrinal thing. Okay, Harry Potter. The world is in love with Harry Potter. I have no problem. I'm thrilled the boys are finally reading books, okay, because of Harry Potter. But making heroes out of a warlock who's an enemy of God, that's where the Christian community, not all Christians, but the people that I hang with, we have a problem with allowing our children. And here's the deal.
Becky,
just a minute. No, because I got to finish this thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. But here's the issue. Our children in the Christian faith watch the same, they have to watch the same cartoons. Disney is one of the most blatantly witchcraft-filled, and our children are exposed, speaking of brainwashing, our children are exposed to witchcraft on a daily basis. Through all of those cartoons, you can't watch cartoons, but what some kind of witchcraft comes up. You just take the time to watch them.
You know what I
and
saw?
so we have to counteract what they're seeing, you know.
I am a father. And as a father, you have intuition about what you want to do with your child. And I think any time that you use that heavy hand, any time that you say, this is the way it must be, and I'm going to stop all other possibilities, I don't know that it's sustainable. I think as that child progresses and they learn and they gain a little bit of wisdom and world experience, they're too quick to reject what's been hammered into them. We simply have to have a little belief in the grace of God to lead us in our way that we parent the child and the way we raise our child.
Two sides of that issue. We asked our parent company, Disney, by the way, for a reaction to Becky Fisher's comments, and Disney declined to respond to the pastor's words. We'll be back.